to just start with a soft introduction, or like listening into where are you with this workshop? Is there anything that you need? Is there anything that you've been reflecting on? I presume that you know each other, but please let me know if I'm wrong. Do you know each other, all of you?
I don't know Riina so well, or I don't know who is Leena.
No?
Leena is coming. I know Leena, yes.
you do know Leena. Okay, great. But maybe we could just have a short round now where you say what you're doing, like what you're preoccupied with in your work, and then maybe have a short reflection on what's happening with you in this workshop. It's also totally okay to confess I haven't done anything. I'm totally behind. That's also a way to do it. And or I just did something, and I mean, and or I reflected on this. I mean, everything is like okay. Let's not put more pressure on each other than we actually need to. We're only human here. This is a workshop in order to support you, and luckily it's something that you can also take off a little bit later if you are pressured on time. But maybe we should just start with you, Heli. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes.
So you say what you're working with at the moment, and then what you've been noticing in this workshop.
Well, now I'm actually working in a performance process that I'm as a performer inside. So I sort of have my own things a bit as like at the back in the back of me. But I only had time to do the 4 days exercises, and then I suddenly got like extra work that I had to deal with. So then I just didn't have any more hours in the daytime to. I've been always reading through the things and thinking like, oh shit, if I would have the time, I would really. But anyway, yes, now I hopefully tonight I will catch up, and tomorrow. But yeah, the 4 first days, I think they put in motion a lot of thinking and thoughts, and. That today I've been somewhere totally else, so I'm a bit like I just arrived like 2 minutes before I came into the Zoom, so I'm a bit like readjusting my mind to this now. But it made me think a lot about values, and actually I listened to the last Zoom meeting during the weekend, and I really want to thank for everybody who was speaking there, because it was really precious to hear all kinds of vulnerabilities in how to speak about one's work, and what kind of problems there might be, or what kind of things that we want to speak about, but then there are some limitations that are somehow keeping us from doing that. Something that, I started to think about the structures that we live in, and how that affects also what we think and how we should think, instead of how we actually we want to think, or how the work is thinking itself already, but then it just somehow doesn't come out as strongly as it could. Am I making any sense?
You are making so much sense, Heli, definitely. Thanks for saying this. It's really good to hear.
And
I believe Laura and Riina and Lena, you were there last time, so this is really a thank you to you.
Yes. And actually, the last, I don't know which Facebook task there was, I already wrote, but I didn't have time to put it there yet. So I wanted to thank you. So now I said it.
Thanks, Heli. And today, actually, we're going to go through both day 8, 9, and 10. So, hey, you're going to be like totally up to speed, up to it. Sari?
I just had a premiere last Thursday. So, and I got knee injury in the pre-performance at Wednesday. And then I got a big flu on when the Sunday was the end day for the performance. Then Monday morning I got this flu that I don't have so much voice. So I've had a lot of struggle with just to live lately. And the performance was really tight. We had 2 performances and I was also performing with the bad knee. They're hanging, and so that's why I haven't had really time. I have done 2 days, but I have been in your workshop before. So, but of course this is different. But I still looking forward to go through all the materials. Yeah. So, and also I moved just to here in the north, in Kajaani. And this performance, what I just did was about the utopian empathy that we have been working already from 2015. And we have been performing it in different places. And now we again kind of deepen it down. So I really like this process of that we always make the performance somehow new. Really long process. And it's in different, now we were in the prisoner where and it's now moved to like hotel. So we were performing there in the old church hall. So it's a very interesting location.
You also performed in Helsinki, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually did it in Helsinki. I'm still working in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really been here where I am now, and I have a lot of like moving boxes, and I should do some renovation and everything. So
yes, because I read that on Facebook that Honja appreciated your performance when he went out to to have a celebration. So
yeah, he was there. He had a fun fun time, because we kind of it's for the one person at a time. And we are kind of there together, and he was really laughing after his experience.
Good to hear.
Yeah. And then I'm now working on, I will do the one performance for the Helsinki City Dance Company, and it will be premiered in March. So I'm mostly working in the south. We only moved here because my husband is actor, and he got work from the theater after this COVID situation. So we really wanted to settle.
Yes.
Or he wanted to kind of get a regular job. So that's why we are. But I'm mostly working and living in south. And now, I have some coming to the Kajaani City. City other one project coming next year.
Cool. Thank you so much.
I'm kind of struggling to keep everything going.
Yes. Great to hear, Sari. Laura? Laura?
Yes. So the question was that.
So what you're working with at the moment, so like what you're diving into, and then what your reflections have been regarding this workshop.
Yeah. Well, I have been working now dance videos with one visual artist, and that's maybe a little bit like going on my own directions. I a little bit escaped from the dance, where like this, where I have been in dance world. I feel that I need freedom, and so that's why I want to somehow work like places where I feel freedom. So, but I have very inspired about the dance videos and its possibilities. And now this workshop has made me like that I need to write a book about my truth and art. So how I can hear my own truth and my own voice, and why it's important. And I have, before I have said only that no, never, I don't write ever books. I hate books because some resistance maybe that books are, that people think that books are like something like some high, I don't know, something that there is that people
pretentious or high culture, or
yeah, something that people respect authors, and I feel that it's the same thing. People speak, and why don't you respect everybody speaking and hearing them? But when it's in the book, people like think that it's something better, that the writers are better. I don't know, but something like I felt that but then I felt that yeah, it can be like it can brighten that I can listen more carefully, that what is my truth, and I can brighten it, I can understand it, I can make it a philosophy somehow. I can go to my wisdom, and I can make it more clear what I really want and what I want to say, because I feel that I need to say, and then I feel like I am angry towards everybody because nobody's listening. And then I realized that maybe I need to just say it, and then it's like, and then I can be in peace, or something like that. So
that sounds really interesting, and I mean it's very much when you create a book, it's also very much that could be like a dialogue with yourself regarding your art and so on. So it really gets to be like opening up your art for the ones who are is the right audience for it. So that could be really like unfolding your way of working also. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and also I feel that it purifies. It already started to purify something.
Yeah.
And because maybe to be very clear about what I am and what I want, then I can, then I am not a victim of anything. Like then life can maybe be very easy also somehow. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this, Laura. That's really interesting. Really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rina?
Hi. Well, I'm struggling with loads of work, but yesterday I got published or announced maybe with a colleague of mine this online, well, it's an online page, for Finnish traditional dances online. They've been published only in a book. I work with traditional dances from Finland, or tradition in general. That's my creative language, well, folk tradition. And I just can't understand how these dances haven't been yet online. So now we have the page for that. And I'm really excited because we're not just only producing the material over there, but we want to like collect the material so that you all know that when you write dances down, then it's just too sharp, or maybe there's so much lacking of the human communication. So we want to make sure that not all the dances are the same, so that we could have like different kind of styles or whatever, maybe on the same dances. And I'm really excited about that. That's something that I'm proud of. But otherwise, there's lots of work, and I'm behind with these tasks that we are having here. But still, I also think that like in the last Zoom, you said something about that it's maybe important to find those audiences who are interested about your work. And that's something that really resonates here. I feel many times that since I'm working with folk tradition, I feel like it's not a burden, but somehow that I'm responsible for also educating everybody to actually know how to read it. And I would like people to be able to read the creative language that I'm using, but I don't want to be the educator every time. So that's something that I'm balancing with. And it's maybe something that I also reflect with these tasks. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a really interesting process, Lina, and makes perfect sense that you. I mean, I don't know if you have some kind of obligation to share or like educate people when it comes to these folk dances. I mean, it could be because it's a national heritage or something like that. But otherwise, I think if you are able to actually unfold your creativity, describing these things and documenting these things, then it would really make sense. I think you'd be more free in it also. Thank you so much for sharing that. Lina?
Okay, hello. Yeah, I'm happy since the last time because I think so many things happened during this week. So I'm like, okay, we met like 3 weeks ago, but it's only 1 week since the last time. And I'm trying to calm myself down and create a new way of like creating my own style for working, so that all aspects of my experience and aspiration would be included, because I feel in the past when I tried to go too fast and too much straightforward, then I didn't have time to enjoy my work so much. I was just working, and then now what I'm happy about, I found a musician that it feels very good to work with, and for both of us, it's being at the edge of something new, and there's like lots and lots of inspiration. And so I'm trying to calm myself down that, okay, we can take this, there's the African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think this applies also like with my inner things, that if I go too fast, even for myself, so then I neglect many important parts of myself. And of course, it then with other people, it's good to have space for everybody and have this fruitful tweaking and testing and enjoying the work while doing it, and then leave it till later. Maybe we'll have pressure on time at some later point or whatever, but why would we have to go fast forward and run when right now we can be at the point where we are discovering things and enjoy that. So I have tried to calm myself down for that, and calm myself down that I didn't do the homework, but I'm happy to be here, and this is so inspiring when it's a chance to talk for a bit. So thank you.
Great to hear. It's a very wise woman I can hear, Lena, with your reflections on working, also working deeper, working slower. Thank you so much for bringing that to the table. So now we stepped in or checked in with all of you, and now I would like to ask you to look at these. I'm just discovering. Okay. Okay, it was because I can see there is still a little bit of a mistake in these. I asked the graphic designer to change it here on day 8. It's actually you're supposed to be like what traits do you place in the shadow, not the organization. And then on day 9, it's what traits does your organization place in the shadow. And then day 10, do you feel safe of selling? I did send out a new one, but I can see that she actually still didn't change the head, but she changed the personal thing here downstairs. So do you all have the tools or the worksheet open? Great. So I would just say a little bit about this shadow work, why I believe in it. I've written a little bit about it in the MailChimp. In 2016, I did a workshop, or I got educated as a shadow facilitator, and it was from the Danish person who made the. Can you hear me? Is there something? Or should I just do like this? With the Danish person who's practicing this shadow work process from Debbie Ford. Debbie Ford is an American, was an American psychologist, but also very much a personal, what's it called, self-development trainer. And she developed this shadow processes, what she uncovered 2000 years ago. And then in Denmark, there is actually this person who has been studying at her place in
Sorry, sometimes it's a little bit hard to hear you.
It is hard to hear me. Okay.
But there is some, I don't know where the mic is. Oh.
Would you let me know? I just wanted to.
Now it's good.
Is that good? Thank you for telling me. Great. So I'm just starting. So yeah, this thing, the reason why there is this thing about the shadow work, I think it's fascinating, especially when you talk about communication, because communication is the essence of what we want to tell other people, what we want to show them. And sometimes we are not always aware of, or sometimes we're very much aware of what we don't want to tell people, how we don't want us to perceive us, how we don't want them to perceive our organization. And then sometimes when we try to hide something, it like they often use this picture of a bathing ball, a ball you use in the bath when you go bathing, and then it like pops up, like comes up every time you don't expect it, or you least expect it, if you try not to embrace, if you try to like put things in the shadow. So that's why I think this is a very superficial or a very light version of looking at it. However, I think it's rather important to be aware of that there can be things that can be like sabotaging or like affecting your way of communicating. And I think that in one of the emails I gave the example of this Danish author who accepted the Nordic Council Award for a book that he wrote. And then at the awards ceremony, he decided to use his time on the mic to criticize the Danish government for being neglectful of the people in the refugee camps, and that's resulted in some praise from some people, and oh great, you did that, amazing. And then other people starting to say, this is just so hypocrite. You're such a hypocrite because you just received 300,000 Danish crowns. Maybe you should just donate donate these money to the refugee camps. Maybe you should do something yourself and just instead of just accepting this. And I mean, he started listening to these things, or that's my assumption. At least it looked like that. And because a couple of days later, his publisher went out and said he's going to give all his award to the refugee camps. And for me, looking at that from the outside, that was like his share, what he didn't want people to perceive him as a greedy, selfish person who had accepted some money which he could easily give to somebody else. He wanted to be seen as generous and a caretaking person, and that's why he made this agreement with the publisher. But then a couple of days later, I hope that somebody, and I think that somebody advised him, well, you really don't need to do this. I mean, every artist an author doesn't earn a lot of money, and he has totally deserved this kind of this money or this prize award in order to also get some salary for all his work that he dedicated for the book. So somebody advised him, and he went out himself to say, oh, there was a misunderstanding. The publisher had misunderstood him a little bit. He didn't want to give all the money, just a little part of it. And then after that, everything got silent. And I think that something there was really like, I think it was the right thing. I don't think he should have given any of these money to this, because it wasn't his job to do that. But of course, he can decide to do what. But I think for a young person, being very much affected by public opinion, decided to do something that was actually very destructive to himself, because I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he probably gets support from the Danish government for the Arts Foundation, or maybe as a social services or anything or something like that. But getting paid in an award for his work is like totally fair. Yeah. So this is just one example, and then there are also examples of people who doesn't want to be perceived as greedy in, like, when they negotiate. And I hear that a lot, especially from artists and producers and so on, in the people in the arts business, because we have these values. And also, so yeah. So what I would ask you to do now, or do you have any questions or any examples? Yeah. No. So maybe we just jump right to the exercise. So now I would like to think about or to complete the sentences here. I don't want my colleagues to say about me that I am. And then the other one, I don't want my friends to say about me that I'm. And one can say many things about me, but I'm definitely not. And if you just use 3 minutes to just write whatever pops into your head, don't think about it, don't overthink it, just write whatever pops into your head, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So have you answered? Just nod, or like nod. You can also get inspired by each other. So I think maybe we should just hear from one of you right now. Who can say about, I don't want my colleagues to say about me that I'm, what did anyone, what's one of you write here?
Well, I can share mine.
Thanks a lot.
I don't want my colleagues to say about me that I think that I'm irreplaceable. Yeah.
Okay, and what personal trait is that? It's a person who thinks that they are irreplaceable. What kind of person? What kind of personality trait is that?
Maybe arrogance. I don't know.
Yeah, arrogant could be a thing. Yeah. So you don't want people to perceive you as arrogant.
Yeah, or too self-confident. I don't know.
Yeah. Too self-confident.
Hmm.
Why is that so awful? Why don't you want them to see that, or to see you as that?
Well, there are so many great colleagues just next to me. So and well, the means of getting along in this life of an artist, they are limited. So I would like everybody to have the possibility for that. But yeah, something to do with that.
Mm-hmm. So there's something about your sense of justice.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, so what do you do, like extra acts in order to show people that you're definitely not arrogant or too self-confident?
Well, for my work, I try to convince, like with words, that why the things that I'm doing are important for general good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you focus on the general good instead of focusing on yourself.
Yes.
So you try not to write I, or you try to say like, why put this into a bigger perspective. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What if you were arrogant? What would you actually gain if you allowed yourself to be arrogant and self-confident, or like a little bit too self-confident, or like over very, very much self-confident? What would that actually what could that be? Could there be something positive gained from that?
Maybe like the thing that I said earlier about not the burden of the tradition, but I think it's really an important thing for for the world in general. But maybe I could also look it as an, I don't know, a gift or some kind of thing like that, instead of like dragging it along and trying to convince everybody that please hear me out.
Yeah.
This is important for you also. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe also like taking responsibility for that. You really find this important, and why do you find this important, and why is it actually so precious that you decided to take up this task? Because I mean, there is something, I can only imagine that there is something very special in the fact that you, not somebody else, but you, Rina, with your competences and your story and all that, decided to do this. And maybe if you kind of let that unfold a bit in your work, it will also be a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Could be.
Thanks a lot, Rina, for sharing. Definitely, thank you so much. And could another one say, I don't want my friends to say about me that I'm.
Well, I had the arrogant one there.
And why is that? Is that because you're an artist and then you don't want your friends to say that you're arrogant?
Yeah, maybe it has, or maybe that I don't want them to think that I place myself above them, or I think that I'm so much better than them, and or so I'm sort of like I'm putting myself down and excluding myself, but okay, there I sense there's something burning, so I'm sorry, I'll go check.
Okay. Okay, that's important. I think it's actually a very common trait that a lot of people within the arts business, when they relate, okay, all good, there's safety in Lena's house, it's all good.
Yeah.
I was just saying that I think it's a very common trait for people being part of the arts industry, that when they relate to people outside of the arts industry, there are these prejudices, but also this, that you need to somehow establish like an equal relationship, and you don't want people to perceive you as something arrogant, or somebody who feels that they are above. I don't know how it is in Finland, but in Denmark we have this law of gender, which is like it's actually it's written by a Norwegian in an old book, and it is really very much 10 commandments that you don't believe that you're better than anybody else. Don't overestimate yourself. It's like really like going through this, and it's all about, you shouldn't shine your light, or you shouldn't believe that you're better than anybody else. In Australia they call it the I just forgot that. But that's also, there's also a picture there with the how they actually cut down these particular flowers. And I think there is something about there are some cultural things about this that you should not or in some cultures you tend to downplay yourself. I'm just thinking, what could you do, Lena, or what could be a positive trait if you actually didn't downplay your art when you were with friends, or downplay your role as an artist?
I could speak of it more freely.
Yeah.
I could have more freedom, and I could feel more relaxed.
Yeah. And I guess that your friends, they probably admire that you're doing what you're doing, and support you in it.
Yeah, maybe I have like because my family doesn't support me, so then this goes to my friends as well. So I'm a little bit, and this is a good point to clarify. Why would I need to? My friends are different person, so I can take each person at a time.
Yeah.
And not mix expectations from one field to another.
Exactly. And maybe it could be something that would be actually good for you also, to like stay in your power and actually just tell it how it is, and what you're proud of, and where you feel vulnerable in your art, and just like somebody else is talking about their work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Lena. I think the last one is, one can say many things about me, but I'm definitely not. What did somebody write there? Yeah.
Well, I can say I wrote unempathetic.
Unempathetic, yeah. Okay. And what do you do to not appear unempathetic?
being empathetic, you know, how do you say empathetic?
Yeah, empathetic. Yeah. You have empathy. You show empathy in your actions or in your words, or in both.
Probably both, depending on the situation.
I think this empathy and not being perceived as unempathetic. I think that's something that I hear a lot when I have this task, because of the what's it called, the values that are within the for a lot of people within the performing or the arts industry, that you want to be you want to be a good person, and that's and then so you don't want to be the one who's not empathetic or show empathy in your words and actions towards other people. However, sometimes that can prevent you from saying no. It can also prevent you from actually securing your own space and doing what you need to do in order to make your own thing work. Is there, what if you allowed yourself to not be empathetic all the time, Heli? What would that to help you do then?
It's difficult because that's my problem, that I am over empathetic.
I sense that.
So it's, yeah, that's what you said. That's my problem always, to putting the limits and making space for my own thoughts and things.
Yeah.
I'm learning that.
Yeah, and I hope it maybe also be helpful for you to know that is this really something I hear a lot, and I think that a lot of the creative people and sensitive people, they have so much empathy, and they are really good at sensing what's happening in other people, and they just want to do good. They just want to help, and that's a really beautiful urge. However, sometimes this help should definitely, or a lot of the time, some of this help and this urge should be towards yourself. So that is definitely a good thing to also be aware of. And I think now the last task in this day 8 is like, pick the personality trait in your answer which you feel most strongly that you don't want to be regarded as, and consider. What actions do you do to prevent being seen as this trait?
Can you say again?
Yes. So it was actually the same question as before. So it's like, but then if you pick one of the traits here in these 3 tasks, one of the traits, the personality traits that you have that you feel most strongly that you don't want to be regarded as, or and then you consider what actions do you do to prevent other from seeing you as this personality trait. That could be like unempathetic, that could be arrogant. And maybe some of you have already answered while we were doing the task. And then I'm just going to ask you, because actually now time is up. I just want to ask you if I think it's totally okay if you leave, but I would like to, because we were also started a little bit late. So I would like to continue on if you have time for it. But if you don't, then we can just end it now. But if you do have time, so I'm just checking in with you right now. Do you have time to stay a little bit? Like for at was it then? It's 4 o'clock in Finland, I believe.
I have to leave soon.
Yes, so but it's 12 minutes more. We just take 12 minutes more, and then you just like write in the chat, I'm leaving now, and then it's all good. Okay.
I can stay 5 minutes more, but then I have to go.
That's great. Okay, so I think we should go to the just, we're not going to do all the things with the organization, but I just want to have the reflections on the organizations that you're a part of. Is there anything that your organization where we don't want, in our organization, we don't want our colleagues to say about us that we are like colleagues from outside of the organization. So in your companies, is there something that you don't want other people, especially your colleagues, not to say about you? Is there something about the culture in your organization? Is there something about the art that you're doing or the work that you're producing?
I have a little bit hard time with these words because I am not so interested about what people are thinking about me. So maybe that's my problem.
No, it's not a
Not
problem at
so
all. I mean, that's a bliss. That's a bliss.
Yeah, I don't know if this is even true. I don't know if it is, but I'm not so into that. But I had just had when I was in I don't really know the word for this, but I was in this performing hell pitching or kind of showing my work also, but also talking. And then there was this moment when I thought, just really honestly, because we have 4,000 euros to go somewhere, because it was kind of left over from this COVID situation. And it is especially for this performance to go abroad. And I said it out loud in the session, and somehow the man who was leading the session later said something about that what I said earlier, and somehow it was made as a joke. That is, if you also have some money, kind of, or he was kind of interviewing somebody else, and he was making this that it's like kind of that that I said, how to explain this in English. But anyway, I don't even know what is the word for this, but I felt a little bit like, oh, I didn't mean it to be somehow arrogant or something that I just kind of really, I think, yeah, my problem is sometimes that I'm really honestly, and I don't want to so much blah, blah, blah. I'm really like going straight to the business. Yeah. And sometimes I feel that people that why think that I am very tough or unempathetic, but that's really, it's not a problem also. I'm okay if people think that. It's also like, what the fuck? But then somehow this just kind of hit me. And I didn't understand that what did I do wrong to say out loud that I have this 4,000 euro for just this piece to go abroad. I don't know any word for this.
No, but I think I get what you mean. It's that like you are actually confident and calm in your praxis, and then you say the things like they are. You're being honest, and then you realize that somebody else is perceiving you as something, or the words that you're saying, or the way that you say them, as something that is not really at all what you thought it was. And I mean, that's the reason why we do these kind of tasks. It's because it can be good to be aware of what are you saying and how does other people perceive you. And I think that the thing about like there is this I don't know if it was about that, but there's this weird thing about money and talking about money in the arts business, and it's really weird because I mean it is about money. There, of course, it's about money. The people who've got money, they can do stuff, and the ones who haven't, they can't. So it's really basic, but there is something about, and that's also what I'm trying to talk about with this shame of selling. There is something about it's not quite right, or there's some kind of unwritten code that it's not fine, or it's not cool to talk about the money. It's just like when you go into a shop where the prices are on, then it's not as cool as the ones who don't have prices on. And we always know when there are no prices and it's incredibly expensive, and it's actually a lot about money. But there is something about these codes, and so maybe Sari, is you feel that you're being perceived as blunt or like arrogant or like too direct or like plump or something like that. And I think that's really not fair. But what could be a way of turning this to something that actually becomes your strength, that you are an honest person, you say things like they are. And then regarding the money stuff, maybe how could you how did you think afterwards, oh, I would have liked to say it have said it in this way, or did you just say, okay, fuck them?
Yeah, maybe I should have just said that we have this grant, because somehow I felt that it felt like this taboo thing, that I shouldn't have said the exact amount of money.
No.
Somehow it felt that it was not. It was, but I'm going next week with Laura to Tallinn to pitch again. So let's see what I'm saying.
Surprise, we're waiting. But I think there is something about like understating a little bit. Yeah, I think you're on the right way there. That or people, they also have, I don't know if you've noticed that. I don't know if it's like that in Finland, but I've noticed it like worldwide from people that they are expressing their gratitude on Facebook, and it's always about expressing how they got some funding for being incredibly great, and it's really nice. But I mean, it's really a way of not saying, "Oh, I'm great and I'm so proud," but it's more like, "Oh, I'm so grateful that somebody decided to discover what I did, and then we got this, or what we do, and so on." And it's really a rewriting of it. I'm just going to say one last thing here, because there was this Danish author, another Danish author, yeah, and she's called Leonora Christina, and she has been a feminist for many years and has been very like aggressive in the public talking. And she was actually for some years she withdrew herself because it was just too tough to get all the aggressive comments on her as a person, just for saying things as she saw them, and also being very direct and very honest with her opinions. And then when she came out with a new initiative, then it was the press release was formed like, just starting to tell, Leonora Christina, this author, she had so much difficulties and so much, I mean, it was just like a fairy tale. They were told so much about all the different difficult things, that how difficult it had been for her to be in the public eye, how difficult her personal relationships have been. And so they were really like building it up, how difficult she had been. And then in the end, she got this like incredible contract with an American publishing. So it was just like they were building up how much terrible things she had experienced, and then ending up with that. Now she got this amazing contract, which was kind of really something out of really, really, really amazing. And this thing about kind of getting permission to have success, this thing about trying to get permission from other people to have had the grant of 4,000 euro, was it euro or something like that, or having landed the contract with this American publisher. I mean, we do so many things in order to like show the world that, okay, we earned it, because we have it, just like in fairy tales, there were so many bad things before we finally got to the happy end. And I think we can work with that, and we can definitely also communicate like that. But there is also a way of, it can also be refreshing for you to kind of free yourself from that, and not being dependent on how that just stay in your power and say that, well, this is actually the success or the good things that I earned, and I'm proud of it, and this is how it is, and I'm just gonna flash it in a in a proud way. So I think that was I just came to think about that when you said that, Sari. So there's something about like really, stepping up for yourself, but also being aware of that apparently the public eye is not always so accommodating of, or like embracing of other people's success. I think that's what we can how we can make it today. So we have touched upon the shadow work, and we have touched upon, we didn't touch upon the shame of selling, just here in the end. We talked a little bit about it, but I hope you had a good workshop here. But please, just the three of you who are here right now, maybe you can just give a little bit of feedback on today's session, and also if there is something you would like to hear about next time.
Okay,
Yeah,
next time.
I feel okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Next time I won't be able to attend, but I feel that this shadow work is really, it's worthwhile to process and look around it a bit. So I'm happy about what we discussed today. Thank you.
Yeah. Laura?
Yeah, me too. I feel that it's very important to realize what is like what I am afraid of, and I got a lot of insights about this money thing, that I don't want to get granted, because I don't want that my colleagues feel that I get something what they don't get. And this is very old thing, because I did this when I was a rhythmic gymnast, and I couldn't beat my friend. I was going to win my friend, but I failed because I didn't want to win her. So it's that I feel that I don't want to be a good artist also.
Oh, Laura, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing this. I think I mean, it's really essential what you're saying there, because it's something that can touch very deep into you, and it's a very vulnerable place to speak from. And I really hear you. I think, and I think it's these kind of thoughts and stories that we tell ourselves, that I don't deserve to win. I deserve to get the grant. I don't want to win. I don't want to be better than anybody else. I mean, that can really like sabotage your way of working, and actually prevent you from having the success that you actually deserve, that everybody deserves. And I think there is of course, there are limited resources, but I think there is enough for everybody. I think that's actually what we should think about. And especially in the Nordic countries, we're very privileged. And so stopping yourself from getting something that somebody else might deserve is really, there is enough for everybody. And when you're doing a great work, then yeah, you should of course also get to have the first place and get the grant. Thank you so much for sharing this, Laura. I really felt you there. Thank you. Are you okay? Good.
Yeah. Suddenly just tears came. So
yeah, I totally
Yeah,
get that. It can be a bit painful to realize, oh my God, I'm the one who's stopping me. Yeah. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to thank you all for joining today, and I'm going to wish you a very good day in the dark Finnish Nordic countries. And I'm also going to enjoy Denmark here. And I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group or in the workshop next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.